Hello everybody, this is Musicals and Me. We are doing another video in the video series How to Write a Musical. Today's video is going to be about script writing. We're going to be writing the script for Robot Pigs the Musical. I'm filming this straight after I've just completed my last little section of it. And I just wanted to say I'm not sure how useful this video is going to be. It's not really like a tutorial style video where it's like, hey, do this, here's some tips, blah 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 blah. It's more like a walkthrough. Just basically showing exactly what I do while I'm doing it, and some things might not be applicable to you if your show is super different or whatever, but that's kind of how it's going to be. Like, there's no one blueprint for how to write a musical, full stop, because there are so many different styles of shows, formats and ways of doing things throughout theatrical languages. So really I'm just showing you what I've done here for this one, and hopefully, you know, there can be some little things that you might not have thought of, or some takeaways, or just even just to have a little bit of interest in seeing into somebody else's head. So I hope that it is useful. If it's not, I'm soz. It kind of gets a bit crazy. So Robot Pigs the Musical, I hope you enjoy this video. Here we go. Okay, so we are sitting down ready to get writing. I haven't written anything since last time I made the last video. This is just completely starting fresh here for reals. So I've just done a little bit of research about pigs in culture and literature, so I've got a little bit of tab stuff happening. I think it's good to just build up as much info as you can and just to write it down so you remember. You might not want to thoroughly think about integrating it right now, but just collect ideas, okay? And so one of the ideas that I've had is naming my characters funny names, okay? So I'm just going to brainstorm some character names, and usually I don't do this. Usually I will just name characters as I get to them. But when you are naming characters, you know, you want to think about it. You don't just want to call them Tim just because you think the name Tim sounds cool. Think about what that character feels like their name is, and also think about including some foreshadowing, okay? So Darth Vader is obviously the prime example there. Dark Father, it's kind of foreshadowed a little bit that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. So when you're thinking about the type of character that you're naming, think about whether that character is really strong character. So you could Google names that mean strength or strong, or if they're, you know, whatever. You can kind of think about layering things in there in a very subtle, clever way. So for Robot Pigs the Musical, I thought it'd be really funny if all the pigs have like pig-related names. So I'm just gonna brainstorm really quickly so I don't forget this idea. Some funny pig-related names. So if we go across to the screen here, we've got our Google Docs, Robot Pigs, pig names, and so I'm just gonna really quickly jot some down. Mr. Pigson, Panella Pig, Piggy, I guess. This Pig, Pig Williamson. Anyway, you get the idea. So I'm just going to keep that there as some ideas of pig names. And so here I've also been looking at the Three Little Pigs story. So I want to just jot down Three Little Pigs. And obviously that has to do with houses and big bad wolf. So there's some ideas that I can collect. And also this little piggy went to market, which is another kind of nursery rhyme that I've been looking at that I think I would like to integrate. So when I've got my document up, I do just tend to write, but I always keep one page just for jotting down ideas, and then I can always come back to it. And you might want to do this in your hard copy notebook like I used in the first video where I'm making hard copy notes. But I find that once I've done my planning in that book and I go to my document, I like to stay in my document so that if I'm on page 5 of script writing, whatever, I can scroll back up to that page where I had all my collection of ideas and kind of tick them off as I go. So I've kind of jotted down the ideas that I have so far. So all I've got is this and what I collected last time. So I think let's just start writing, okay? So we've got Robot Pigs the Musical, and don't worry too much about formatting when you first start writing. I think that it's good to just get it down. When I write, often I don't even write which character says what, which, you know, you probably should, but I just like to get it down, get it down, get it down, get it down while you're in that creative flow. And then I know that if I ever feel like doing some work on it and I'm not in the creative flow, that I can just sit there for an hour and catch up with my formatting and edit as I go. And, you know, there's always different things you can be doing, so don't worry too much about editing. And as well, most importantly, don't worry too much about getting down the exact thing that you want, okay? Don't be like, oh, I'm not sure if that's the right way that I want to phrase this. I guess I won't type it in. Just type it in. Type it in wrong and strong. You've got to be very good at being comfortable with failing and writing something that is not great, because you can always change it. There is no stakes, okay? You can always go back and change it. So we've got Robot Pigs the musical. And as I said last time, I think I want to have a narrator. So I'm just going to work on writing this narrator's opening speech. And, you know, I'm not even sure that this is how I want to start it. I might come back and change it. I might start with a song. I'm 100% not sure yet, and that is a-okay, okay? So don't worry about, you know, setting something in stone here. This is not stone. This is a Google Docs, okay? So, narrator, let's just get something down. Okay. The year is, how long will it be before animals can talk? Maybe 32, let's say. The year is 3032. Animals can talk. Animals can talk. Fish can walk. And fish can walk. And vacuum cleaners can clean up all by themselves. But you knew that already. Okay, so I'm, you know, one little section in. The year is 3032. Animals can talk, fish can walk, and vacuum cleaners can clean up all by themselves. But you knew that already. Okay, so I'm trying to go for this style that is very silly, that is very caricature-y, and I've tried to include a joke there. I don't think it's a good joke, okay? The joke is that we already have like Roombas and vacuum cleaners that robot down around your feet, so, you know, it's not super relevant to this narrator describing the future because we already have vacuum cleaner robots. So we will be going back and changing that, but that's okay. Try and put in the jokes where you can, and you can come back and tweak. Okay, the year is 3032. Animals can talk, fish can walk. And I've put that in just because I like rhymes, even when you don't need rhymes. I like rhythm, okay? Animals can talk, fish can walk, and vacuum cleaners can clean up all by themselves, but you knew that already. A frog can buy a newspaper. A frog can buy a newspaper. An elephant can ski. And humans still roam about, but mostly stick to the human colonies. Okay, so I've tried to get in some information. Okay, so I want this opening speech to be very light, very fun, but still its primary function is to set up the world, okay? So you want to set up the world when you first start writing, and this could be in your opening song, it could be in your opening speech, it could be in your opening 10 minutes, but you want the audience to understand how this world works. And if you're writing a show in the normal everyday world, then you probably will have to spend less time on the world and more time on the situation, or explaining what period you're in, or what you know, socioeconomic class your main character is in, and whatever kind of circumstances they are. So I've got a very brief little paragraph here. We've introduced the idea of where humans fit into this world, because there isn't really going to be humans in this story, I don't think. And so, you know, I don't want the audience to think that humans have been wiped out and taken over by animals by the year 3032. Humans still exist, but they just, you know, stick to their own little world, okay? And as you may know, I'm constantly reading back over my work, and, you know, I'm reading it aloud for the camera, but also if I was to be doing this by myself, I would be reading aloud as well. And the more you read back over it, every time you add a little bit, read back over it, it gets it into your brain, and it just helps you get a sense for how it's going to feel. So again, I'm going to read it The year is 3032. Animals can talk, fish can walk, and vacuum cleaners can clean up all by themselves, but you knew that already. A frog can buy a newspaper, an elephant can ski, and humans still roam about, but mostly stick to the human colonies. And it's almost got enough rhythm to it that I could turn this into a song if I wanted to. So the opening could be, the year is 3032, animals can talk, fish can walk, da 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 da. You know what I mean? It's almost got enough rhyme and rhythm so that I could convert it later to lyrics as opposed to a speech. But let's stick to a speech for now. A frog can buy a newspaper, an elephant can ski, and humans still roam about, but mostly stick to the human colonies. This story will start in a little pig village. I'm sorry about my... The story will start in a little pig village. In a little pig house made of bricks. And here I've got a slight reference to this Three Little Pigs story that you probably know. The wolf huffs and puffs and tries to blow down the pig's house. The pig has a house made out of straw and a house made out of, I forget what, stone or something. I'm pretty sure the last one is bricks though. I'll come back and clarify that all before I set anything in stone. Oh yeah, the third pig builds a house of bricks, which the wolf fails to blow down, okay? So this is a safe house. Straw, sticks, bricks. Okay, so this story will start in a little pig village in a little pig house made of bricks. Okay, and since I want it to be kind of rhymey, I'm going to go across to Rhyme Zone, which is my favourite rhyming dictionary. And I'm going to put in bricks just to see if that sparks anything. And as I've mentioned in that other video that I linked at the start, it's good to click on near rhymes so that you can get this vertical list. Okay, so we've got 6, mix, fix, sticks, tricks, picks, hicks, chicks, kicks. Okay, so we've got lots of good bricks rhymes. Let's see if we can work something in. Okay, so I decided a tired pig mum tells her cheeky pig's son. A tired pig mum tells her cheeky pig's son the year is 3032. Animals can talk, fish can walk, and vacuum cleaners can clean up all by themselves, but you knew that already. A frog can buy a newspaper, an elephant can ski, and humans still roam about, but mostly stick to the human colonies. This story will start in a little pig village, in a little pig house made of bricks. A tired pig mum tells her cheeky pig son that she's sick of cleaning up after him. This story will start in a little pig village, in a little pig house made of bricks. A tired pig mum tells her cheeky pig son that she's sick of cleaning up after him. Okay, we are back another day, more writing. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking over the past couple days, and I usually think about stuff in the dead of night when I should be asleep. I don't know when you do thinking, but it's always the case for me. And the way that I like to think about things is to really visualize the show, okay? So when I'm planning things in my head or thinking about ideas, I see the picture of the show, I imagine it being performed right in front of my eyes and what is happening, and that's kind of how I tend to visualize it, okay? So if we go back to the screen here, I did my little narrator opening, and I thought that was a good way to start the show, really punchy, just somebody coming out and being like, hey, this is what's going on. But I think instead we're going to start it with song, okay? So, again, I'm not really going to be worrying about formatting it in any way, shape, or form, but I'm going to start with the This Little Piggy rhyme. And if you don't know this rhyme, I don't know what your mum did to your toes when you were little, but my mum went, this little piggy went to market. So if you know it, that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be sung. I'm not necessarily going to specify anything because it's all in my head at the moment in this visual kind of sense. So, this little piggy went to market. And then another pig jumps out and says, this little piggy stayed home. Then another pig jumps out. This little piggy ate roast beef. And another pig jumps out. And this little piggy had none. And then our main character pig jumps out. And he says, and this little piggy went wee, 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 wee. And then I think the chorus will echo and go wee, 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 wee. And then we'll go back to main pig all the way home. And then on home, it's going to be like everything sets into like a little vamp and everything goes into like world vibe. So if I just show you what I'm thinking at the moment, when I haven't created actual melodies yet, but I know I want something sung, every time I go back over it, I just improvise something completely random, and it might not be anything to do with what you settled on, but it's going to give you an idea of what it will feel like when it's sung, okay? So, the stage is dark. Lights come up. Maybe there's a 10-second little overture instrumental thing. And then one pig jumps out. This little piggy went to market. Then another pig. This little piggy stayed home. Another pig. This little piggy ate roast beef. Another pig. And this little piggy had none. Main pig. And this little piggy went wee, 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 wee. And then all the pigs jump out. Wee, 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 wee. Main pig. All the way home. Dun, 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 dun. And then we go into the action, okay? So it's a neat little opening that grabs the audience's attention straight away. It's to do with something that most people already know, okay? So a rhyme that most people already know. So it gives them something to latch onto, some sense of known, something that they're familiar with. And this is most importantly in my 10-minute musical, because we've got such a short amount of time for them to grab onto this. So it starts with something they're familiar with. But in any musical, okay, you need to connect with the audience and include things that people are familiar with. And that's why stereotypes and tropes can be so good. You know what I mean? Sometimes they can be really valuable to play with things like that, because the audience already understands, you know, certain stereotypes and certain tropes, so they can latch onto it really, really quickly and really effectively. So that's just a little side. So I've got this little opening song bit. It means we start on a song, which I like to do. It doesn't really matter, but you know, you grab them straight away. You can introduce the musical style of the piece, and then we've got all the way home, dun, 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 and pigs are walking across the stage doing their daily pig business, okay? And this is where the narration is going to come in. So, okay, so as we were just saying, now I've got this this little piggy prologue, okay? Grabs the audience's attention in a neat little introduction. And the thing about this is sometimes it's better to show rather than tell, okay? So my narrator thing that I was going to have as the intro being like, this is the situation, this, that's telling the audience what's going on, which is great. And I am going to have that in a sec. But my this little piggy prologue, by each pig jumping out and saying, this little piggy went to market, this little piggy had roast beef, blah, 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 blah. When they jump out, they're actually going to be like sophisticated pigs, like eating roast beef and going to the market. And so through doing that and actually having this visual thing of these pigs doing these normal everyday things, this is going to show the audience that, okay, pigs are a part of society. Pigs can talk. Pigs can sing, okay? So just in this 20-second little prologue, we're able to show the audience just a few things and set up this world before going into telling them the details. And lots of musicals have prologues. If you haven't considered a prologue for your show, it might be something that you want to think about. Is there any information that you need to share from previous events. And obviously in my 10-minute musical, this little prologue goes for like 20 seconds and just kind of grabs the audience. But, you know, prologues can be quite extended, and the thing that comes to mind, obviously, is Les Mis, okay? So, if you weren't going to have a prologue in Les Mis could totally start at its big opening number, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. At the end of the day, it's another day older, you know, like, that's a great big opening song that sets up the world, and they all live in this terrible life. But you've got the prologue, which happens before that, look down, and sets up Valjean, and you know what I mean? So lots of musicals do make use of this prologue. It's basically anything that happens before that big opening group number, okay? And, you know, in terms of musical theatre, there is often a structure, okay? We've got the big opening group number that sets everything up in the place, the setting, whatever. Then you've got the I Want song with the main character, you know? So we've got structure that we can play with, but prologue is what happens before any of that kind of stuff. Okay, so going back to the screen, we've got Robot Pigs the musical, we've got our little piggy intro that I've just sung through, and when we get to all the way, so I'm just going to put here vamp. I haven't written it yet, I just keep improvising a little thing, but I know that I want it to be bouncy, and you know what I mean. So we're just going to put vamp there, maybe I'll bold it, but you know, I wouldn't worry too much as long as the info's there. And now I think we're going to go into the narrated section, okay? And when you include a narrator, it's good to think about including it in an interesting way, okay? So you could just have somebody called narrator who plays the narrator, and they do this and they say this and they say this, but it's a bit like grade 4, you know what I mean? So think about shows that do use a narrator. So, you know, again, 21 Jump Street comes to mind. Again, if you haven't seen it, go look it up on YouTube. It's awesome. But it kind of has a narrator, but through the form of like a special news report. So it's like a news reporter. Or Into the Woods has, you know, the narrator, but it's actually the mysterious man, and that ties into the story, and you know what I mean? So, like, think about an interesting way to include a narrator. So for here, because we've had all these pigs jump out in the prologue section, being this little piggy, wee, maybe to have some sense of, like, group narration or group storytelling, or breaking the fourth wall so that the pigs are just in their pig lives, but then they can break out to the audience and be like, oh, by the way, the year is 3032 kind of situation. So if we come back to our screen here, so I'm not going to delete what I've already written, because I do like some of these rhymes, and I may use that information or those, you know, little phrases and bits later on. So really never delete your stuff. I just enter it down. So we've got our vamp. All the way home, bum, bum, bum. And I don't know who's going to say what yet, but I'm going to say, oh, I don't want it in bold. This is why I don't bold things. Okay. The year is 3032. Maybe somebody else will say the next bit. The world has seen some spectacular technological advancements. Okay, and when before, I don't know if you remember from last time, I had this joke that animals can talk, fish can walk, and vacuum cleaners can clean up all by themselves, but you knew that already. Terrible, terrible joke. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I'm going to tweak the joke now. The world has seen some spectacular technological advancements. Animals can talk. Fish can walk. And most importantly, and here I'm going to tie into plot straight away. So where I had the line about the vacuum cleaners, like that was just a throwaway gag that's not really relevant unless robot vacuum cleaners come into it. But here I'm going to get straight to including plot in the jokes. So animals can talk, fish can walk, and most importantly, and here, if you remember my previous video in the planning stage, I had this idea about this super advanced version of the PlayStation that the main character really wants to get, but his mum won't let him. And I've decided to change it to Xbox because I think that's more recognizable as like video games. Whereas if I was an old person and I heard PlayStation, I might think it was like a special type of playground or something. Oh, you're going to the PlayStation. So I think Xbox is a bit more like video games. And and most importantly, Xbox has released its newest console, the Xbox 3600. Okay, so this is a joke because we're saying all these super amazing things that has happened in the future. Animals can talk, okay? And maybe while whoever's saying this is saying it, you know, a couple animals come on and have a conversation. Fish can walk. So maybe while that person says something, you know, we dress somebody up as a fish up top, but they've got human legs, you know, comedy gold. And the reason it's funny is because those things are so amazing, and we say, but most importantly, Xbox has released its newest console, the Xbox 3600. And the reason I've chosen 3600 is because, you know, initially in my planning stage, I think I said PlayStation 17, which, like, firstly, they'll probably be past 17, but secondly, it doesn't sound super spacey or futury. Whereas I think 1000, you know, like, that sounds so, I don't know, I just think, you know, it sounds a bit more futuristic. And Xbox has released a 360, Xbox 360. So Xbox 3600 is kind of just a play on that. So Xbox has released its newest console, the Xbox 3600. Okay, now maybe some other character comes on to give us a little bit of narration. Humans? Because I still think it's important to address where the humans are in this story because they're not really present. Humans, most of them have migrated to Mars. But there are still a few about, and they mostly stick to themselves. Okay. So I'm going to keep each section together. I don't want to break it up across a page, and I feel like this is a section. So, and you know, when it's somebody else saying something, at the moment, because I want to worry about formatting, I'm just denoting that by putting a space. So new kind of section, new person, and that's evident here. You know, this is each going to be a different person. And so I've got section 1, section 2, section 3. Pretty much everyone's a vegan. Okay, another joke. I don't know if it will land, but, you know, if animals can talk, I wouldn't want to eat them. Okay, so, again, as I said a couple days ago, just keep reading back over things. Feel the flow of it, okay? And again, I'm just going to be improvising. I'm not the best improviser, so this is not what it's going to sound like. This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy ate roast beef, and this little piggy had none. And this little piggy went wee 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 all the way home. The year is 3032. The world has seen some spectacular technological advancements. Animals can talk, fish can walk, and most importantly, Xbox has released its newest console, the Xbox 3600. Humans? Most of them have migrated to Mars, but there are still a few about, and they mostly stick to themselves. Pretty much everyone's a vegan. So that is my new narrated introduction, narrated by different characters who are just in their lives rather than a narrator character. And again, we're going to keep this bit just in case. I do like a few things in there, but we're just going to keep hitting that enter button and pushing it down. Now, we've set up the world. I feel like this is enough. We've set up this idea of the Xbox that everybody wants. We've explained why humans aren't here. We've explained that due to technology and the fact that it's the future, animals can now talk. And we've shown them through our prologue that they don't just talk, that they actually have their own sense of society. They go to the market, they eat roast beef, they have normal lives, okay? And we've chucked in a vegan gag there as well. Okay, so we're ready to meet our main character, and I think I want to introduce him. So, we're going to continue this narrated section just a little bit longer, even though I'm happy with those 3 sections. We're going to continue this. Pretty much everyone's a vegan. New narrator person, new character. pretty much everyone's a vegan. This story isn't about vegans. It's about a little pig called Piggy McPigson. This story isn't about vegans. It's about a little pig called Piggy McPigson. And it all started the day before his 9th birthday. Okay, so again, we've got information being shared, exposition in the form of narration, so it's super efficient. And in a longer musical, okay, you would probably want to do the show, not tell, okay? You don't want to have to tell the audience everything. You want to show them. So if you're doing a longer form, you might have a scene where, you know, you explain through dialogue or through, you know, showing that it's his birthday and who the character is, you know, things like that. But because we're going for 10 minutes, I'm going to introduce him very explicitly. But this story isn't about vegans. It's about a little pig called Piggy McPigson, and it all started the day before his 9th birthday. So we know how old he is, we know what his name is, we know where we are in time. We've set up the next scene. Okay, so we're ready to start the story, really now. We're ready to start the story. We've set up the world, and here is where we're going to start singing. So I think that we've introduced this next character, we've set up the next kind of section, and I think that that is going to be Piggy McPigson singing by himself, okay, before we introduce more of a group number. So we're going to lyric writing now. Now this is a kind of, you know, whatever works for you. Some people really love to write the music first and then put lyrics to music, and some people really love to write the lyrics first and put music to lyrics. And of course there is ways that you can do little bits of both here. So honestly, do whatever works for you. If you would rather be sitting at a piano while you do this next section, you know, sit at a piano and write your music. For me, at the moment, this time, I'm going to have a go at writing some lyrics first, and when I transfer those lyrics to music and try and create melody and try and create some music for it, those lyrics might change completely. They might change a little bit, you know, to fit in with the music. So we're just going to have a go at lyric writing now, and if you've never written lyrics before first, maybe like now's a good time to just have a go at it, because it might bring out something different. You know, when you're always writing from music first, you're always going to be starting from a certain point, doing certain things. If you write lyrics first, you might actually find that you know, create different rhythms, or you create different, you know, you start using an upbeat where previously you never do, or, you know, things like that. So we're going to have a go at lyric writing. Okay, and again, as I do this, I'm just kind of going to be improvising the type of sound that I want. It's not going to be exactly what's going to be, but the type of sound that I want. So I want this to be kind of like slow and, you know, personal. So let's just make it up. You know, I had this thought today. I thought everybody who's ever done anything has just made it up, you know? Like, imagine the first person who tried to write something for an orchestra. Like, they probably didn't know all the fancy things that we know now about, you know, what the different instrument sounds are good for, you know what I mean? Like, they probably just made it up. So, the most exciting thing about writing or doing anything creative is that you just get to make it up. So let's make it up. Mother, tomorrow I turn 9. Mother, I know that I'm a swine, but hear me out, there's just one thing I wish I could call mine. Mother, it would be so divine if you'd get me an Xbox 3600. Okay, so that was just honestly straight off the bat. I was just singing it through, typing it, and the singing bit really helps me with feeling where the rhyme should go, what they could be. Okay, so we've got our first little verse section, and I didn't use the rhyme dictionary here, but I might go back for some tweaks because I don't really like the word divine. Like, I think we don't really use it that much. Like, here I'm using it to say it would really be so awesome or so great. But who goes, oh, divine? You know, like, yeah, we do sometimes. But, you know, for something to be divine, it has to be divine. Divine is such a different meaning to, it'd be great if you could buy me an Xbox for my birthday. So let's just sing it through again. Mother, tomorrow I turn 9. Mother, I know that I'm a swine, but hear me out, there's just one thing I wish I could call mine. Mother, it would be so divine if you'd get me an Xbox 3600, whatever. So let's go across to Rhyme Zone and see if we can find anything else for divine. And if we can't, like, that's chill. Divine is okay. So Rhyme Zone, my fave. Let's put in divine. And as I always say, click on near rhyme so you get this vertical list. Line, fine, sign, mine, define. Okay, so like straight away, the only thing I can think, we've got divine there. I've spelled it wrong. Great. I could have known that if I had done that. So the only thing straight away that I'm seeing is fine. And although fine means like fine, just fine, you could say mighty fine. So we could say, Mother, it would be mighty fine if you'd get me an Xbox. But I think divine is better than mighty fine. You know, mighty fine, we would say even less, probably. Okay, so we've got our little section, and I think similarly to our prologue, where it's kind of like, all the way, style change, I think it's going to be a little bit similar, so, would be so divine, like he looks like this cute little piggy. If you'd get me an Xbox 3600, and the style kind of gets a bit boppier there. So we've got more of a chorusy section. Would you get me an Xbox 3600? So we want to see if there's any rhymes for 100. Hundreds, funded, 100th. So funded, we want our mum to fund the Xbox. I don't know if we can do anything with that. You'd get me an Xbox 3600. Would you get me an Xbox 3000, fully funded? It really would delight me and excite me and make me loads of friends. An Xbox and friends room. Never feel embarrassed about using a rhyme dictionary, by the way. Like sometimes I feel like, sometimes I use it for every single time. Like, you know, I should be thinking about stuff in my own head. And yes, that's true, but at the same time, use the tools that you have available. And, you know, sometimes you see things and it sparks ideas, so don't ever feel bad about it. Depends. Trends, tends, extends, sends, spends. If you'd get me an Xbox 3600, would you get me an Xbox 3000 fully funded? It really would delight me and excite me and make me loads of friends. An Xbox, that'd be the best. And, you know, best does not rhyme with friends, okay? And I did not see best on this list here of my rhyming words, but when you sing it, and this is what I'm saying, always sing back over your stuff. Sometimes you'll feel what's right. And I don't know if this is right yet, but make me loads of friends, an Xbox, that'd be the best. I think that we could get away with that rhyme because friends and best, it's got that sound. So we're rhyming the vowel sound rather than the end consonant sound as well. Okay. So we've got our little chorus for this song, this section, and I think that at some stage it would be nice to show other little pig kids asking their mum the exact same thing. So, you know, you could have a chorus of little pigs going to their mum, could you get me an Xbox 3600? Yep, so we've also introduced this idea that if he had an Xbox 3600, it would make him loads of friends. So this insinuates he doesn't have that many friends, and to be hip, to be cool in the in crowd, you need to have an Xbox 3600. Okay, so now we need the mother's response, and as I talked about in the planning video, if you haven't seen it, you know, whatever, go watch it first. This will make a lot more sense. You know, everybody keeps telling this pig, you can do this, you can get this when pigs fly, okay? So, we want to be thinking about rhymes for fly. So, the one that straight away comes to mind is why. We could work with that. I, by, high. I think we're going to try and make Y work. So then Mum Pig says, why, why? And then Little Pig goes, please. Oh, please. And she goes, when pigs fly. So let's just sing through this little song again. Mother, tomorrow I turn 9. Mother, I know that I'm a swine, but hear me out, there's just one thing I wish I could call mine. Mother, it would be so divine if you'd get me an Xbox 3600. Would you get me an Xbox 3000 fully funded? It really would delight me and excite me and make me loads of friends. An Xbox, that'd be the best. Why, please, when pigs fly. So that's, you know, a pretty good start. We've got some musical ideas there just from a little bit of improvisation. We've got the, you know, direction, we've got our prologue, we've got our little introduction. Now we've introduced pig, pig mum, wants an Xbox, no, when pigs fly. Now we've got to bring that out to the wider world, okay? To show Pig interacting with his friends, how the Xbox affects that, and ultimately sparking this thing inside of him of, I need to fly. I need to become a robot pig so I can fly. So he needs to be told this a few more times. So maybe he goes to his friends and says, can I play with you? They say, well, you don't have an Xbox. How are you going to play with us? And he goes, please. And they go, why? And he goes, please. And they say, when pigs fly. So he needs to be told this a few more times to spark that thing of inside him. But, you know, I'm feeling pretty, you know, done for today. Don't feel like you have to do a whole chunk every time that you write. Do a little bit every day, okay? So I'll see you next time I do this. Okay, hello, I'm just editing right now and something terrible has happened. Not only did I not press play on my secondary camera, so not my screen capture, my other camera wasn't recording, and the webcam screen capture did not have any sound. So I have no way of knowing what I actually said in this next section. This next session I wrote for an hour. The screen video is for an hour, and I'm just going to put it on super fast forward so you can see me typing what I'm doing and just try and really quickly run you through the kinds of things that I did, but hopefully you can catch up in the next bit where everything should be back to normal. I'm really untech savvy. Yeah, send help. Anyway, this bit will be in a little bit less detail, but hopefully you can catch up with the kind of story that I'm writing. Okay, so the first thing that I was really thinking about was the mum's reason for saying no to the Xbox 3600, because I thought that she would look a little bit of a mean mum if she was just like, no, I'm not getting you the Xbox 3000, like when pigs fly. So she says, Piggy, you know those things are so expensive. So she gives a really valid reason. They cost an arm and a leg. And Piggy goes, because we've got this vegan joke. So she says, calm down, it's just a figure of speech. Everyone's a vegan now. So we're working back in those jokes, just recalling the jokes that we have built upon. She said, but those things are really expensive. So she gives a reason, so we don't think the mum's just this mean mum pig. And then Piggy says, Mum, could you please just try? And then she says, when pigs fly. So we've kind of built upon that interaction and given them more of a positive relationship there. And we're going to go into the second verse of the song, and as you can see here, I'm just copy and pasting those lyrics because I want it to be a similar melody and therefore a similar kind of rhythmic structure. So Piggy is going to go to school and go to see his friends, and when brainstorming an idea for Piggy's like bully rival, you know, I went back to thinking about pig names, and I decided on something to do with hog, you know, because it's kind of got more of a negative connotation than piggy. So I settled on hoggy. So Pig walks to school and he bumps into these guys that he really, really wants to be friends with. And we're going to be copying that same melody from the first verse. So we go, hoggy, tomorrow I turn 9. Hoggy. Oh, yeah. And then the bully pigs have this little call and response. So we're adding upon the melody. We're not just going copy-paste of the melody. We're giving them a little overlay. So just try and hear things in your ear of when you sing them. What could be added? So, hoggy, tomorrow I turn 9. And they say, go away, you stupid pig. Hoggy, seeing as we're both swines, I had a little thought, you see. It would be... Can I hang out with you? And all your other friends, there'd be so much fun stuff we could do. So a little bit similar, a little bit just kind of trying to build upon. So never stay stagnant, never go backwards. Keep trying to build upon your ideas and build layers to the song, okay? And then they say no, and we go into more of a chorus vibe with all the rival pigs. 'Cause you don't have an Xbox 3600, and we all have an Xbox 3000 fully funded. So leave us all alone and go on home to your broke-ass mother pig. And then I was thinking about rhymes for pig and what that might mean for the kind of conclusion to the section, and I didn't really like any of the rhymes for pig. So what I did was I went across to Rhyme Zone, and instead I checked here for rhymes for pig, but I wasn't happy with them. So I chose a synonym for pig. And, you know, you can do this on Google. I'm sure there's a way to do it on Rhyme Zone as well. You just want to type in synonyms for the end word or the word you're trying to rhyme to see if you can change the actual first word to get more or better or more suitable rhyme options. So I went with boar, and as you can see, there are a lot more rhymes for boar than for pig. So I said, to your broke-ass mother boar, and on your way out, make sure that you close the door. And now, like in the first section, we had that chorus and we broke it out into dialogue. Here, again, we're going to have the chorus section and break out into dialogue. So Piggy says, my mother is not a boar, she's a pig. And then the bullies are going to have a bit of a bullying interaction. Oh, I know you're a boar because you're boring. Again, totally not funny. Please let me hang out. I could be your guy when pigs fly. So now we've got guy and fly rhyme, a repetition of this when pigs fly thing again, because Piggy needs to hear this many, many times. But I really wanted to include this joke about the figure of speech, because the first time Piggy's mum said, it costs an arm and a leg, and he goes, oh, don't worry, everyone's vegan. So I tried to think of another sort of figure of speech that could be about animals. So I just Googled, like, you know, figure of speeches, examples, euphemism examples, to do with animals, and I found something that would work and tie in with the joke. And I settled on the figure of speech, bee's knees, because it has to do with animals, bees, you know. So Hoggy says, I know you're a bore because you're boring, and I'm the bee's knees. And then Piggy goes, he goes, oh, it's a figure of speech. Nobody eats bee's knees anymore. We're all vegan. And again, you know, just tying back into the vegan joke, it's probably a bit overdone, it's probably a bit cheap, but it's kind of relevant to the story because animals are all talking. So we've got when pigs fly, and I'm thinking, is this enough time times to be told this, when pigs fly, for him to really start to set him off on this journey, to motivate him to cross the threshold and try and become robot pig. And in order to have that kind of thought realization, you know, it's tying back into this idea of the figure of speech joke, because when pigs fly is a figure of speech. So, you know, maybe that's going to be how he's going to, you know, realize, oh, when pigs fly, you know, maybe it's not a figure of speech. Anyway, in order for him to have this realization, I've decided to give him a little bit of a slower, like, solo section. Just him alone going through the thought process in his head to go from point A to point B. So this little solo section before it, he's like, oh man, life sucks. And after it, he's going to be like, oh man, I could be robot pig. So he says, you're a loser, you don't have any friends, but when you're 9, will you still be a loser? I guess that depends. There's just one thing I want, to hang out with Hoggy and all his friends. But I don't have an Xbox, and my mum won't get me the Xbox. So I guess that answers the question. When pigs fly, they say. When pigs fly. When they fly, I'll get an Xbox. When they fly, I'll be cheered in school. Hoggy will look up to me and I'll make the girl pigs drool. So yeah, this bit I was like, it's not really cool for an 8-year-old pig, you know, to be making the girl pigs drool. That's a bit like grown up. So I decided to change that, even though it was a good direct rhyme. So I'll be cheered in school. Hoggy will look up to me and I won't be a fool. When pigs fly, they'll love me. When pigs fly, I'll belong. Hang on. When pigs fly? Now I'm pretty sure this time that's not a figure of speech. If they want flying pigs, I'll give them flying pigs. And here we're kind of associating when pigs fly with something more than actually flying, okay? So when pigs fly, they'll love me. When pigs fly, I'll belong. He's actually seeking here belonging. He's seeking friends. He's seeking acceptance. And again, like I was explaining before, we're tying back into this figure of speech joke, okay? Hang on, this time it's not a figure of speech. So it's the rule of 3. First time he gets a figure of speech, he doesn't realize. Second time he gets a figure of speech, he doesn't realize. Third time, he takes it seriously. It's a kind of, and he goes, I'm just a little pig, but if I use my brain and try, I just might be the first pig ever to fly so high, way up to the sky. And he's had this big moment of revelation, like, hang on a minute, if they want flying pigs, maybe if I really try, I can fly up to the sky. And it's kind of this big moment of decision-making within himself. And we have to somehow tie it back into Robot Pigs, which is kind of the title and a really kind of cool concept. So, I really like the melody of the chorus from before about the Xbox 3600, but I think, we've had solo parts to this song. We need a big chorusy part. So the chorus all come in, and it's kind of like the chorus saying what's in Pig's head of what he thinks they'll say to him when he can fly. So he says, I'll fly way up to the sky, and all the chorus comes in, and get himself an Xbox 3600. If you can find a way to fly, then surely you can be our guy. When with or without an Xbox 3600. Your wings, they will delight us and excite us, and we'll let you be our friend. A robot pig, robot pig, robot pig. That's the whole chorus, and then Piggy goes, that'd be the best, or maybe everyone all together. So we've got this real kind of a chorus sound in that last one, and it's all kind of in Pig's head, like, oh yeah, this is what they're going to say. When I come back as a flying pig, they're going to say, yes, we're amazed by you, we're dazzled by you, this is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we're thinking about starting the next section here, and Piggy has made that decision to cross the threshold, to leave everything behind, and to go and follow his dreams. So we're going to come back to the narration now, because that kind of whole song is finished, nice, neatly tidied up, and we need to somehow communicate or connect to the next section. And since we've established this convention of narration, I don't like to just, do it once and then leave it alone. If you've established that this is going to be a part of the way you tell the story, keep bringing it back and keep using those ways that you've established to tell the story. So Piggy was elated. He had had an idea, but not just any idea, an idea that would, in time, come to change the course of history. New Pig. He was going to become the first ever robot pig and harness the powers of technology to help him fly. But how does an 8-year-old little piggy harness the powers of technology? Well, he needed some help, so he sought out the wise, the fierce, and the terrible. And who is he going to seek out? I'm having a think here, and I'm thinking, who is going to help him really become Robot Pig? Who is good with technology? Initially, I thought maybe he could go and visit some other animals along the way, like get a whole bunch of different kind of things along the way from different animals. But I've decided to make it a human, okay, to add a little bit of interest. We've kind of explored a little bit about where humans are. So he decided to seek out the wise recluse, Herbert the Hermit. And, it's funny because it rhymes. Again, we're going along the lines of silly names here. Herbert the Hermit, who lives to the south. And because we've used the narration to link the two sections, I'm thinking about where we're going to pick up. So we could pick up, right where we left off. Robot Pig's decided he's going to be a robot pig. What now? But I've decided to start back in the story when Piggy is on the way to see Herbert the Hermit. So he's traveling. He's in the midst of traveling. He hasn't reached Herbert yet, but he has left home behind. So we've got a tiny time jump. With things like that, when you've got like a narration or something at the end of a song, you do have opportunities to jump forward in time a certain amount, okay? And I had this idea that, Herbert the Hermit is a bit of a creepy kind of guy. Nobody really knows if he's real. He's kind of this fictitious story that mums would tell their children, almost like a nursery rhyme. So Piggy says, I grew up with stories. I grew up with nursery rhymes. I grew up with rumors of a terrible kind, a wonderful kind. Everyone in Piggly Village, we all know of this man, but none of us know if he's fact or fiction or where the tale began. And again, I'm just totally improvising as I write it out. That gives me some sense of musicality and gives me just ideas of where to place the rhymes or what kind of structure to give it. And again, just dipping across to the next tab over, rhyme zone, whenever you need it. Use it as much as you want. It's there as a tool to be used. They say he lives in a cave, a wonderful man without any clan, a human. A hermity human, that's what they say. And then we're gonna be having Herbert the Hermit's big reveal, okay? And I want it to be, again, real spooky vibes. Like, we don't know if the Hermit is, like, good or bad. And I had this idea that while Piggy has been growing up on, like, stories and rumors of Herbert, that Hermit, has a similar feeling. Like, he's grown up hearing stories and nursery rhymes about 3 little pigs and this little piggy, So they've grown up hearing about each other through stories, but never actually meeting. And so Piggy says, Hermit, Hermit, where are you? Are you even here? Are you even real? Oh, my mum was probably making stuff up about you. Hermit, Hermit, really searching for him. And then Hermit comes out of the shadows, comes out of the darkness and repeats and echoes what Piggy sung earlier. I grew up with stories. I grew up with nursery rhymes. This little piggy and that little piggy and the big bad wolf committing his crimes. But hey ho, what do you know? We humans, we plotted and tried. And before we knew it, our knowledge it grew far and wide. No more people, they're all on Mars, or behind great big fences, driving their cars. Not me, I don't want it, want to stay here and work, and learn all new things about you animals and your quirks. And it's real spooky vibes, so he says, so I have just one question, what is your quirk? What makes you tick, and what makes you smirk? Why have you come here? Why? I want to fly. So Piggy reveals to him the fact of why he's sought out the Hermit, and we've kind of built up what the Hermit's doing here. He's, pushed himself away from the general population of humans who've all gone to Mars, or they stay in their big cities, all protected from the outside world. Hermit lives alone in this cave, seemingly, and he says that he's there because he wants to kind of keep working away at his whatever he does and learn things about the animals and their quirks and what makes them tick. So he says to Piggy, why have you come here? What is your quirk? What makes you tick? And Piggy says, I want to fly. Okay, hi friends, we're back again. Robot Pigs, the musical. I've just written a little section without the camera on because I felt like I could go a bit quicker. I feel like when the camera's on, I feel bad when I just stare at the screen for like ages. But basically, that's what I do. Once I get to a bit where I'm not sure, I just stare at the screen like I have no idea. So that definitely does happen, and I'm probably going to edit out all those bits where that happens. But yep, I just written a little section here, so let me go back over it for you and catch you up to speed, and then we're going to write the last little bit together, okay? So where I left last time, the opening section had come to an end. We had this little bit of a narration explaining that Piggy was going to go and find this hermit called Herbert, who lives in the south, in the wilderness. So we had this little introduction while Piggy was on his way, travelling to find the Hermit. I'll just sing it through for you. And I guess, again, this is all kind of like improvised stuff. Nothing is set in stone musically here. I grew up with stories, I grew up with nursery rhymes, I grew up with rumours of a terrible kind, a wonderful kind. Everyone in Piggly Village, we all know of this man, but none of us know if he's fact or fiction or where the tale began. They say he lives in a cave, a wonderful man without any clan, a human, a hermity human, a clever, insightful, technological human. That's what they say. Hermit, Hermit, I've come from a pig village to the north and I desperately need your help. Hermit, are you even real? Are the stories even true? My mum was probably just making up stuff. And then the little hermit creeps out of his cave. I grew up with stories, I grew up with nursery rhymes, this little piggy and that little piggy and the big bad wolf committing his crimes. But hey ho, what do you know, we humans, we plotted and tried, and before we knew it our knowledge it grew far and wide. No more people, they're all on Mars, or behind great big fences, driving their cars. Not me, I don't want it, want to stay here and work, and learn all new things about you animals and your quirks. So I have just one question, what is your quirk? What makes you tick and what makes you smirk? Why have you come here, why? And then Piggy says, I want to fly. Fly? Well, why didn't you just say so? Come on in with me, Piggy, and welcome to the lab. So we changed setting from the venturing in the wilderness to going into the Hermit's lab. And then I've written this little section for Hermit, Herbert the Hermit, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a rap or like sung or like a bit of half-half, but I'm going to do it as a rap now for you. And again, none of this is set in stone. I've just bashed this out right now. So this is Herbert's bit. My name is Herbert the Hermit, and I'm a quality stand-up guy. I don't live in a cave, that's just the entrance to my techno lab where I pass the time. I got gizmos and gadgets, experiments galore, and no nosy neighbours to bother me next door. And I'm the guy to help you fly, 'cause that's what I do best. Special enhancements, laboratory tests, kicking little birdies right out of their nest to watch them fly, 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 so I can find out why. And if we transfer that knowledge, I'm sure we can find a flying pig solution that will boggle the mind. So tell me, Piggy, do you trust me? Herbert, I trust you with my life. And then more into a sung chorus. Trust me, Piggy, I can help you soar. I can make you better than you were before. I'm Herbert, the wonderful hermit, and I'll help you take off from the floor. Piggy, I'm thinking a suit, a robotic suit of armour with retractable wings, turbo engines, jet boosters, and more. All you'll need to do is bend your legs, push this button, and push off from the floor. And then chorus, pigs, chorus people. Trust him, Piggy, he can help you soar. He can make you better than you were before. He's Herbert, the wonderful hermit, and he'll help you take off from the floor. And while the chorus is singing, that's when Herbert and Piggy are like doing stuff at the lab, like making the robot suit, putting the robot suit on Piggy, giving him a bit of a costume change into his robot pig vibe. And then the chorus, he's Herbert, the wonderful hermit, Herbert, the wonderful hermit. And then they're finished, and he goes, what do you think, Piggy? Give us a demo. And then Piggy flies, and he's like in the air. It's working, it's really working. Herbert, you're a genius. Couldn't have done it without you, kid. And then there's a tonal shift. Now, shall we discuss payment? And then the chorus pigs, doo-da, 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 doo-da. So kind of going back to the vibe of the start, creepy vibe. Payment? You didn't think I'd give you my finest robotic creation for free now, did you? Well, I don't have any money. That's okay, Piggy. The city folk may all be vegans, but some of us still thirst for the taste of a nice, tender pork belly. Come here, Piggy. It won't hurt a bit. And plot twist, Herbert the Hermit is actually a little bit evil and wants to eat Piggy because he is not a vegan like the rest of society. And then Piggy is a quick thinker. He's wearing a robot flying pig suit. He goes, turbo, activate, psh, and he flies away. And Herbert goes, no! And the chorus go, Herbert, the carnivore hermit, he let out a defeated roar. Blah. And that's the end of Herbert the Hermit section. So Piggy has flown away. He has now become Robot Pig. He has his robotic pig suit. He's beaten the bad guy. And now he flies back to Piggly Village, and there's all these pigs going, what's that in the sky? It's a bird. It's a plane. And then somebody, maybe his mum or Hoggy or someone goes, no, it's Piggy McPigson. Is he flying? And that's where I've got up to, okay? So, in terms of beginning, middle, and end, we had our beginning section. Before he crossed the threshold, decided to go find the hermit, become Robot Pig. Middle section, he's gone through his trials and tribulations, obviously quite short for a short show, and then he's defeated the bad guy, he's come back to Piggly Village, and it would seem like he's won, okay? Often in stories, there's this moment where it seems like everything's going to work out. He's got what he's wanted, but it's not what it seems, okay? It's going to cost him something. So we've got to now bring him back to Piggly Village and show the cost of becoming a robot pig, him becoming ostracized or, you know, a bit abandoned by everybody that he knows. And, yeah, and some kind of resolution about friendship and belonging because, you know, la-di-da. So let's do it, okay? And, you know, I'm really happy with that section that I just bashed out, but I honestly just did exactly what I've been showing you all the way up until this point, okay? I just make it up in my head. When I'm making up song, I just improvise. Just do whatever comes out of your mouth, okay? And the more that you improvise, the better you will get at improvising. And really, it's just making stuff up. Go into rhyme zone for every other line, you know, whenever you need. Just be like, what can that spark? Just making it up. So, no, it's Piggy McPigson. Is he flying? Piggy McPigson. Yes, it's me. But the name's not Piggy anymore. You can call me Robot Pig, okay? So this, I'm putting this in here because it kind of helps show how being Robot Pig is going to cost him something. So already he's given up his name and a part of his identity to become Robot Pig. And, you know, we want to have some wholesome messages about, you know, it's okay to be yourself and that you've got your own self-worth, okay? Yes, it's me, but the name's not Piggy anymore. You can call me Robot Pig. And then he comes down to earth. And then his mummy says, I don't know what to say. This is all rather unexpected. But Mum, you did say, you said, when pigs fly, you'd get me the Xbox. Right? No, I'm not sure what the mother's response should be here. Yes, it's me, but the name's not Pig anymore. You can call me Robot Pig. I don't know what to say. This is all rather unexpected. But Mum, you did say, you said when pigs fly, you'd get me the Xbox, right? And Holly, when pigs fly, you'd let me be friends with you. You're going to keep your promise, right? Okay, Piggy says, but Mum, you did say when pigs fly, you'd get me the Xbox, right? And Hoggy, when pigs fly, you'd let me be friends with you. You're going to keep your promise, right? And then Hoggy says, look, Piggy, your robot suit is pretty cool and all, but you still can't be friends with us. We've never been friends with a robot pig before, and we aren't about to start now. Look, I've got 2 controllers for my Xbox. Why don't you come play with us? But we'd rather play with Piggy than with Robot Pig. It's kind of unsettling. Okay, so Hoggy has his little speech, and then the mum pig says, Piggy, robot suit or no robot suit, I still can't afford that Xbox contraption. There is a reason pigs don't fly. It's not natural. It's not what we do. 9 years ago, I gave birth to my little piggy, not to Robot Pig. I've tried to make you happy, Piggy. I wish I could give you more. And Piggy's gonna say, you lied. You all lied. I risked everything to become what I thought you all wanted. Now you're telling me it was all bogus? I don't need you. I don't need any of you. I can fly. I can fly far away from here. Robot Pig, out. So we could have had a resolution there where they were all like, no, we like the real Piggy better, we don't want Robot Pig, and you could have gone, okay, I'll take off the suit and we'll all live happily ever after and sing our little happy song. But this is a silly reason, but the reason that I didn't do that is because I wanted to have a Robot Pig song. Because it's called Robot Pigs, or Robot Pig the musical, I wanted there to be more of a song where it's like, Robot Pig, and we haven't really had that yet, and if he discards the identity of Robot Pig now, it kind of has all kind of been over and done too soon. So, Robot Pig is going to abandon all of his friends and family and go off and try and be Robot Pig alone, with all these new flying Robot Pig powers, and we're going to have a bit of an awesome, like, Robot Pig song, but then in the middle of that song he's going to go, oh, actually, I, like, miss my mummy, and I miss my birthday cake, and I don't really care about Xboxes or anything, I just want to be myself again. And then he'll come back. So, let's write awesome Robot Pig song. I am Robot Pig, and I'll take to the skies. I am Robot Pig, and I'll take to the skies, doing robot things with my robot wings. Flying far away from their lies. I am Robot Pig, and I'll take to the skies, doing robot things with my robot wings, flying far away from their lies. I will swoop down low, and I'll soar up to the clouds, not a care at all, feeling so tall up above all of the crowds. So I've got something really upbeat. Bum 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 bum. I am Robot Pig, the best you've ever seen. I'm Robot Pig. What I just did there is I wasn't happy with the options of rhymes for the current line that I had, and what I did was I looked up synonyms for the end word to try and find different ways of saying the same thing, and now I've settled on, instead of the best you've ever seen, I'm going to say the best you've ever known. So it's quite a similar meaning, and now I've got known rhymes to play with instead of seen rhymes, and I liked alone. So I'm Robot Pig, best you've ever known. I'm Robot Pig, I'm Okay, so we've got I am Robot Pig and I'll take to the skies, doing robot things with my robot wings, flying far away from their lies. I will swoop down low and I'll soar up to the clouds, not a care at all, and I'm feeling so tall up above all of the crowds. I am Robot Pig, the best you've ever known. I am Robot Pig, I'm out here on my own. I'm the toughest, the strongest, the best in the world, and I'm out here all alone. Zooming through the airing, very, very daring, no point in you comparing to Robot Pig. Very, very luscious, no need to make a fuss, but you're welcome to discuss this Robot Pig. I am Robot Pig, the best you've ever known. I'm Robot Pig, I'm out here on my own. I'm the toughest, the strongest, the best in the world, and I'm out here all alone. And then I've just had an idea to repeat that section because that's what's going to link to a more soft part of him realizing he's all alone. I'm out here all alone. I'm out here all alone. I'm out here all alone. Nowhere to call home. I'm out here all and then maybe a cut-off for effect. I'm out here all alone. I'm out here all alone. Nowhere to call home. I'm out here all alone. Piggy is alone. So now we're going to have a little more somber, soft section, and it might be nice to come full circle and go back and check what I wrote in his original soft section, which was, yeah, you're a loser, you don't have any friends. But when you're 9, will you still be a loser? I guess that depends. So let's just copy and paste this down here so I can kind of see what's going to be relevant to this situation and what's not. But yeah, always go back and reuse your old stuff, old motifs. I'll talk about that more in terms of going to the music, but once I get maybe 50%, 60%, 70%, the rest you can just recycle. I mean, obviously there's going to be new stuff, but recycling things as much as you can, giving that audience something to grab onto, something that's already known to them, if they're already familiar with a theme or an idea. So we're going to go down, down, down. Out here all the, you're a loser, you don't have any friends. So I like this part, but I think maybe for more so when he realised he's been a bit of an idiot. So I've got his solo section. Today I am 9 years old, but no one to say hooray. No mummy pig or daddy pig to help me on my way. What have I done? Am I a terrible son? No. You're a loser. You don't have any friends, and now you're 9, you're still a loser. Oh well, I don't care. I'd rather be daggy for all of my life than to miss my family. I know what I have to do. I have to set the robot part of me free. My name is Piggy. So reclaiming of the identity, he knows what he has to do to make the wrongs right. Okay, so he's gone back to his family and he says to his mum, I don't need an Xbox 3600. I don't need an Xbox 3000. Just a hug and a mummy to call mine. Mummy to call mine. I don't need an Xbox 3600. I don't need an Xbox 3000. Just a hug and a mummy to call mine. She's a swine. A mummy to call mine. She's a swine and not a bore, not like the guy next door. I'm sorry, I was wrong. And then maybe all of the other bully pigs, like Hoggy and everything, do a chorus version of it. We don't need an Xbox 3600. We just need to get out more and share all of the love, and we're sorry that we shun you. We're sorry that we shunned you and we bummed you to the curb. A robot pig, that'd be the worst. Okay, I'm not 100% sure about that last little bit, but we can go over it when we do editing and music and everything. And that's kind of the end. They live a happily ever after. But I'm not sure if I should have like a little epilogue with Herbert the Hermit, like creeping out of his cave trying to steal the robot suit or back or something. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy with how that has ended. So we're gonna leave it there. Okay, that is the video. I hope that was useful. I showed, what day each thing happened, just so you can see it doesn't all happen in one day. Like, you can do just little bits every day, and that is totally valid. Please let me know down in the comments if this actually was helpful to you. If anybody made it all the way through, honestly, congratulations, commendable effort. Honestly, it's a little bit random, but if you did find value from it, please do let me know, and make sure you hit the like button so that other people can find the video. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and I hope to be making some more direct videos, specifically about certain things that I've mentioned in here, some more sharp, short videos that are going to be a bit more informative, but this is just really a walkthrough of my personal creative process. So again, I hope you have found that useful, and I will see you in the next video. We're going to look at some music, editing, a whole bunch of stuff until we get our finished product of Robot Pigs the Musical. I'm so excited. I'll see you next time.